it was a very small room where 2 chairs and only 1 table could fit. How can you expect a child, a 3 or 4-year-old child, to sit in that cabin, a small cabin, for 2 hours? Papa, Mama, Dede, Aja, car. So these were the few. He was on word level, he used to speak. But suddenly a phase came. When he was 5 years old, he stopped. I was just pushing him for academics. But I lost so many years. Hi, I'm Anjali Lakhani, mother of a young man. He's 23 years old, on a spectrum. Our journey started when he was born. Everything was fine. He was like a normal boy. Everything was going fine. But suddenly what happened was, there was something which we thought is missing in him. I could say, usually a neck holding comes at the age of 4 months, 5 months. And I could see that it was delayed. And it came around when he was 7 months. But there was something going in my mind, something is different. He is different because I have a elder daughter. She's 3 years older to him. So I just went to my pediatrician and said that there is something wrong with him. So he said, no, usually the boys, the milestones are a little delayed. So you're comparing with your daughter maybe. So I said, okay, maybe, because as young parents, we were also not aware. But there was something in my mind going on. So I just searched the internet, and few things which I could see, that there was no eye contact. So those were the things which were really worrying. So I just went through the internet and just came to know about a word, autism, which I was not even aware of it, what autism was. So I just went on and on and on. So I just went to a neurologist, and he was just 8 months old. At that time, I went to him and I told him that I am feeling there is something wrong with my child. And my son, he was with me. So he was just sitting on my lap and he was fiddling on the table with things there. So the doctor was observing him. And I said, is he autistic? This was the direct question. So he said, ma'am, are you mad? I said, no, there is something which I can sense. There is something. So he said, no. I said, he was fiddling around on the things kept on the table. And he said, I kept on asking, what is autism? Is he on that spectrum? He said, ma'am, I think you need a therapy. You need to go to a psychologist. There's nothing wrong with this child. He's perfectly fine. So this is how my journey started. And when it came from a neurologist, it was really tough for me to explain to others. And I was like, where do I go? Now, what is the next step? Then I was like, at times he used to respond to his name, the noise. But I felt maybe there is something, maybe he's having a hearing problem. So I just went to an ENT for his hearing. And that ENT female, she is, I won't name her, she's the authority in the field. So I went to her and I said, this is the thing. So she said, you go for a BERA test. That's something, for the hearing, they do it. So we went for a BERA test, and in that test, it came 90% of hearing loss. So I was really shattered, and I said, what is the next step, ma'am? So she said, you ASAP, you need to go for a hearing aid for him. Hearing aid means, okay, so if it is coming from an authority, I had to believe her. And we said, okay, so the measurements were taken for that. And she said, you come after 15 days. We went back. I thought 15 days, and those 15 days were like, I was, my world is gone. I have nothing to do. Now I'm shattered. Where to go? And then suddenly the 15th day, my mom was after my life. Why don't you go to medical, AIMS, maybe, just to have a second opinion. I was that, who will go to AIMS? And then those lines and everything, it is tough for a common man. So, but I just went there and I told that, please help me out. The hearing aid was to be installed the same day. So I just went to the director of the AIMS, and he said, ma'am, we can't help you out with this because there's a long queue. If you want to get a BERA test, then you have to come after 3 months. I said, I don't have that much of time. So he said, okay, I was just in tears. And I said, please help me. It was like, I was begging in front of him, you have to help me. So what he did was he just sent me to a technician over there. He said, maybe he'll be able to help you out. So I just went to a technician over there, and he just made me sit in a soundproof room with my 9 months old child. So he made few just noises, sounds, and he was just observing my son. So after few minutes, he said, ma'am, beta test is not possible because, you have a long queue for that. But what I've observed is that your child is perfectly fine. I said, but I've come to know, like, this is the thing which I've got from this ma'am. I will not take her name. She said that he has 90% hearing loss. So he said, ma'am, I go through 100 patients every day, and there is no problem with your child. It is just lack of attention. I said, but I showed him the report. He said, you believe me? You come after 2 years and then you tell me. But to believe a technician and not to believe authority was something really difficult for me. And I had to go and get it installed the same day. I went back home. I said, I'm not going to that lady. Let me try more. So I was like, for another 6 months, I was mad, just making sounds in some other room, some loud music. And I used to just observe how my son was behaving. After, I think, 1 year, I went to some other ENT guy and took it as a fresh case. And I said, I feel there is something wrong with his hearing. And I got the test again done. And it was perfectly fine. His hearing was fine. So at times, I feel, being young parents, we feel, we've taken this thing from authority, but we need to take 2, 3 opinions before going for something, something really major. If I would have gone for an hearing aid, his own hearing would have been damaged. So this is one of the incident it happened, and I will not say, I don't blame anyone for that. It was our ignorance, you could say, or whatever you name it. This is one of the incidents, and then there are so many other incidents happened. But now we call him Kushy. His name is Kush, and we call him Kushy. So Kushy and Kushy are proportional. So I feel he's the Kushy in our life. I take it that way. Initially, yes, of course, even I went to a depression because when we came to know he he has autism. When I was in depression, I still remember my family, my husband was a big support to me. He was like, the problem has come, we have to face it. We cannot run away from the problem. But he was one person who was always positive. He was always positive in the sense he used to say, God has been always kind. There must be some reason why he has given this to us. So we should take it that way. Not you, if you go into depression, our entire family will be, shattered. So he had been always a pillar of strength, and he supported me. And this is the reason where I am now. It is just because of him. And I'll just share one incident when my son was just 4 years old and my daughter is 7 years. She's 3 years elder to him. And he used to go to park with our domestic help. Didi was there. She used to take him to park. And there is a small mandir over there. One day, he just entered that mandir. So the Didi along with him, she went with him and there some kirtan was going on. And I still remember, like, when kirtan was going on, he was making few sounds, noise, he was also making. So the Pujari ji told the Didi that you just take him away from this place because he's making a lot of noise. She said, she told me, like, she wanted my son to be out, but he didn't want to come out. So she dragged him out and brought him home. So when my daughter asked, because he was crying, so my daughter asked, Didi, why he's crying? So she said, today this kind of incident happened. The Pujari ji said, you take him from here. And no one was at home. A 7-year-old child, my daughter, she said, Didi, come along with me. So the Didi said, no, I'm not coming with you because Pujari ji was really rude. So she said, आप मेरे साथ चलो. And my son, my daughter, and Didi, three of them went to that temple. And she said, Pujari ji, kya hua? He said, कुछ नहीं. She said, आपने मेरे भाई को यहाँ से क्यों निकाला? He said कि कुछ नहीं हुआ बेटा, ये थोड़ा शोर मचा रहा था और कीर्तन की आवाज़ थी, लेडीज़ कीर्तन कर रही थी, उन्होंने ऑब्जेक्ट किया, हमने इसको बोला कि इनको बोला कि इसको बाहर ले जाओ. So she, coming out from a 7-year-old child was, it is really shocking. She said, पंडित जी, आप जो सुबह 5 बजे इतना शोर करते हैं, आप माइक पे इतना जोर जोर की जो बजाते हैं, क्या कभी हमने आपको आके बोला है कि आप ये बंद कर दो? हमने तो आपके सामने कभी ये नहीं बोला. तो आपने इसको क्यों बोला? ये इसका तरीका है, ये खुश हो रहा है, ये भी गा रहा है, तो आपने इसको बाहर जाने को क्यों बोला? So he got embarrassed and he said, बेटा मैंने कुछ नहीं, वो आसपास की लेडीज ने किया तो मैंने इनको बोला आप घर चले जाओ. That was the day. And till, means he was young adult, he used to go to that temple every day and used to sit there and used to make loud or sounds or noise. But from that day, no one objected. Maybe they were not aware of the thing or whatever it was. But these are the little things I feel that, people are more aware now. People have started accepting it. And this is one of the incident which happened. And I could say, means if a small change I could make has really helped me out. Now talking about Kush, if I say all his milestones were delayed. He started sitting late. Usually a child starts sitting at the age of 6 months, 7 months. All his milestones, as I told you, was delayed. His walking was late. His speech came. It was late. It was delayed. He was on word level. He used to say, Papa, Mama, Dede, Aja, Car. So these were the few. He was on word level. He used to speak. But suddenly a phase came. When he was 5 years old, he stopped. And suddenly that speech vanished. I used to take him for speech therapy, and he used to go there. I think for years we went for the therapy. It didn't work, but still, as a mother, I thought maybe, one day. And I just spoke to the doctor. He said, it is not that he can't speak. It is only he doesn't have the urge of, so that urge needs to come out. So you create circumstances where he feels like talking. Maybe you just don't give him water. So if you'll not give him water, he'll ask for it. You don't give him food. He's fond of chips. So don't give him chips till he asks for it. So we tried all those methods, but it didn't work. Because I don't know why this regression came and his speech vanished. But now I feel that he has an alternate way of speaking. He has through gestures, through, maybe if he wants water, he'll go to kitchen, he'll just go and get water. He has other means. So I felt he's happy. And we have the way he is, I feel, he's happy the way he is behaving. He's different, but he's not less, I would say. He can do whatever he wants to do. And it's only we need to change our perspective. When I used to take him for sessions and therapies, I still remember he used to come from the school, and it was race against the time. We used to just feed him, just taking him for one session, from one session to another one, another to another. So our entire thing was like only sessions, and I used to take him for speech therapy. The speech therapist said 1 hour is not sufficient, ma'am. You need to, it should be at least 2 hours. Maybe it works with him. But when I used to take him, it was a very small room where 2 chairs and only 1 table could fit. How can you expect a child, a 3 or 4-year-old child, to sit in that cabin, a small cabin, for 2 hours? I don't think so. My daughter could have even she couldn't. So how could we expect that a small child, 4-year or 3-year-old child, sitting in a small room for 2 hours? And he used to be cranky like anything. He used to, sit on the floor. He never wanted to go inside. We used to drag him. So, and then after a session of 45 minutes, oh God, now I have to take him to another session, which was, you are stuck in jam. You reach there after, means you are late for 15-20 minutes, but your session slot is 45 minutes. So half an hour, for half an hour session, we used to drive for an hour or so. So that was the time I always wanted, maybe we could start something where at least, as a parent, I was a working woman, but I quit my job because of my son. And I was also very passionate about my job. I never wanted to, but the circumstances, you could say, I had to. So I always, back of the mind, I always had this thing that I'll start something where, parents feel free that, under one roof, we could get everything under one roof. And this is how, it took almost 16 years. But now it's been on almost an year, we've started an academy. And this academy is not only for kids. See, we have so many places where we can send our kids for sessions. But this academy is more for parents. बच्चे तो सब कुछ करेंगे, बच्चे तो सब कुछ. And this place is like, it's for parents where they could come, they could discuss their problems and to find out the way outs, like how to help our kids, how, now that I'm into this, I come across parents every day that they come and they say, this is the problem we are having. And, I won't say, even there was a time when I used to push my son for academics, because this is one thing which has been put in our mind that academics is going to help the child. And even I was doing the same. I was pushing my son for, he was not into academics, and I'm almost 8 years, I was just pushing him for academics. But I lost so many years because I just pushed my son for academics. But now I realize there are so many other things. Why not? If a child is good in skating, if a child is good in cycling, swimming, why not enhance those things? Why only push for something which he's not willing to do? So keeping these things in mind, we opened a place where parents, where kids, everyone feel comfortable, and we can join hands together, and maybe, someday we'll be able to come out of this thing together and change the world. Thank you, Josh Talk Special Mom, for giving me the opportunity where I could share my journey, and maybe through my journey, I'll be able to help the young parents who are here and will benefit out of it. Thank you so much. आगे एक मैसेज जोश टॉक्स के co-founder की तरफ से.
Hello everyone. I'm so happy that Josh Talks has brought this channel out where we can hear the stories of the incredible mothers and fathers of autistic children. I had somebody in my own family who was autistic. If you are the parent of a young child who has autism, please share your information with Josh Talks in the form below. This will help Josh Talks better understand the problems that you face and the content that needs to be created. Your information will be kept confidential. Only a few members of the team will have access to this data who will call you to have a short conversation with you.